Actually, most people died, I believe. Let's see. The first bad thing that happened, or the first thing that happened, is basically, well, there was a river or something like that, and for some reason it had heavy cyanide poisoning, heavy amounts of cyanide poisoning. And there's this river, or there was this pool, and there's like this little lake or something like that that had a massive amount of cyanide in it, or something like that, or some sort of poison, basically. And I think the Indians had actually known about it or whatever, but the cyanide or the poison or whatever was leaking into the well water, and we had been doing sampling of it, um, and the Indians had to move, or at least the people that lived there had to move, and it didn't just kill the Indians. It killed off the whole, like a third of the town or something died because of it. A whole bunch of settlers, a bunch of people died basically, and the government or somebody was trying to cover it up, basically hide it, pretty much. Anyway, I had known something about it. It might have been one of my sites or something like that, but basically, and I would have been cleaning it up. And mostly, what a lot of stuff had to do with, well, like I say, in hindsight, or looking at it in general, basically Richard Nixon and or some people in the government pretty much intended to basically kill off everyone or kill off a lot of people anyway. So they were planning on launching the nukes when they were like at 80 or something like that, or some point in time. I don't really know. Like I said, Nixon or JFK always had this dream of our birds cross in the night, and basically he dreamt of basically destroying the world pretty much. I guess, I don't know. Like I say, you'll have to talk to the Secret Service agent, and what the Secret Service agent said is it was actually JFK that would say it jokingly about it or something like that, and then it was actually Nixon. Also, some comments on from Nixon. Other people are like, "Oh, come on, it's true though." Anyway, though, so basically, uh, what a lot of people, I mean, what also a lot of people died over pretty much was the fact that, well, for one thing, um, like I said, most of the money was mine. A lot of people thought that Germany was rich or something like that, so they went. Anyway, well, like I say, I owned America and Germany and a couple of other countries. Basically, they were directly under, or at least my factories were mostly there. And I kind of owned Ireland, and then owned Ireland more and more and more as time went on. And like I said, my people were really happy and really like equality and stuff like that. And things happened fast in my company. And like I said, women and men working together, children coming to work and spending time with their dads, and even joining in the family business or in the business basically. You know, um, is it's kind of like a family atmosphere and all that other kind of stuff, and people just working hard, and doing stuff, and things went pretty well basically in the company. And like I said, we had steam power and steam stuff to back up, so pretty well. Anyway, though, but a lot of people died. Let's see. What was the next big thing? Oh, another big thing, of course, was also pretty much the Republicans or the Democrats were being paid by me, or not. Not they weren't being paid, but people were being paid to do cleanup efforts. That were really costly and really expensive, basically, because lots of man hours. And somebody decided that instead of paying these people, it's just like at Panama Canal. A lot of people were supposed to get a big bonus at the end of the end of the project, and they're supposed to get raises throughout. Somebody, I think what Roosevelt did, or somebody what did, is they went down there and they didn't give the raises like they were supposed to, and they just kept everyone at a really low pay basically, and and then maybe planned on killing them off. Like I said, the Irish people came to me and said, well, they basically used Gatlings on the black community and the Indian community, and then they got down to the Irish camp, or there's like a little town or something like that, and they were going to shoot them too as well, but the Irish had weapons and stuff like that. Unlike the other, they had more guns or something like that, or they had, somehow they figured it out. But they had slaughtered like two whole little like tent encampments. There was like little tent cities out there, and they had slaughtered a bunch of people, basically. I don't know what they're planning, who they're planning on blaming it on, but they basically did that, or someone did that basically towards the end of the project. I don't know when exactly. Anyway, something the Irish uncovered basically, and the reasons weren't given or something like that, and he was trying to lead a revolt or something like that, and also um, trying to um, trying to raise an army to attack Panama in Cuba or something like that. I don't really know. Should take it over, I guess, for the Republicans. Anyway, another reason why people died. But like I said, a lot of people were being paid. Were supposed to be paid. These cleanup projects were supposed to happen. You know, like DDT was supposed to be handled properly and disposed of properly instead of just putting holes in the containers and letting it drain out. A lot of things were supposed to be done that would have been costly and expensive and would have used a lot of man hours and been very, very expensive. Like I said, I had printing presses, I had plenty of money, so I was just like, okay, we'll go ahead and clean it up, and we'll just print out the money and, it'll be on me and the world would be a nicer, better, cleaner place, basically. And, and so that was supposed to happen, but I guess the best or easiest way for the Republicans or the Democrats or the people, blah, 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 like I said, that's why all people were reporting or sending receipts to basically Washington D.C. and Washington D.C. was basically writing checks out to all the different groups or something like that. I had done the same thing in other countries basically, where everyone would report to one little building, one little thing, and then you'd be paid out accordingly. Um, and so at Washington D.C., so all the receipts were going to Washington D.C. basically, and then checks would be or money would be distributed out from there. So basically, I guess what they were doing is they were basically, instead of actually doing the cleanup effort, they were just covering it over and saying, "Oh well, don't worry about it, y'all," or something like that. And basically the people weren't cleaning it up, or at least the the people weren't being paid to clean up the things that they're supposed to be being cleaned up. So, and I guess that's what JFK or Nixon was doing, is basically or pocketing the money. And keeping it for themselves or spending it on something. I don't really know. So anyway, I don't really understand it myself, to tell you the truth, because like there's plenty of money, we were printing money, and it's a little harder when we were doing the coins and stuff like that, because metal is hard to mine and all that other stuff, and then we're making coins, so there's actual cost in making the coins. So you make $1 coin, but it costs you like 25 or 50 cents in actual labor costs to make that $1 coin. So you're not really making you're not really, it's just, it's just a form of financial system. But, once we get to money, then we're printing money like crazy, and it only costs like 10 cents to print $1 bill or to print $100 bill. Same cost, basically. But, one's only worth $1, one's worth $100. So literally printing money is what I was doing, basically. And like I said, by choosing the $100 bill, by choosing America's money, basically, that's my money being printed and being distributed out there. So I was paying for things to be done, and then just basically saying, well, whatever, we'll get it back on the tax, or we'll get it back on the sales tax. I'll get it back eventually. And but for the actual dollar bills and the projects and everything else like that, just print, and just pay people out accordingly. And then I'll get it back, or I'll get it back some way. Or at least it's better for my civilization. It's better for everyone. The money without much money floating around. So it's a better society, basically, civilization. That's why I'm Civilization Master. Woo! 10 years. For 10 years, I was Civilization Master, or something like that. Number one, Civilization Master for 10 whole years in existence, or something like that, or at least around here. Somewhere in existence, I was basically Civilization Master, the best, most epic civilization creator for 10 whole straight years. And then, someone else comes along and does something better, of course. But I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, if that's galactically or even universally 10 straight years of me being the best, most epic creator, epic civilization master, or civilization person, that's pretty good, So, and then, someone else, so whatever. Anyway, so basically, but like I said, when you go back and you realize it, like I said, the communists actually did a very good job. The communists actually did a very good job cleaning up everything, because it's community. You live there, you whatever there. So of course you don't want your backyard made a mess. And they were actually very good at cleaning up and very good at just like, we need this stuff and we're going to go and do that. And so things were moving very well in the communist or communityism side of things. The problem actually was more with the financial side of things, and I guess that was more like the Republicans or the Democrats or somebody basically, they saw a way for them to be able to pocket money by just not doing these projects. You're supposed to clean up a big old oil spill, and instead of cleaning it up, you just cover it over with dirt, and basically, ching, check, all right, cool, yeah, all those hours that never happened. So, well, I was paying for the cleanup effort, and technically the taxpayers were repaying on the cleanup effort. The cleanup efforts weren't happening. But like I said, considering that Nixon or JFK or someone planned to kill everyone or planned to kill off people, anyway, it makes a lot more sense about why they were actually doing that, because Nixon planned to launch the nukes anyway, or planned or whatever. So, like I say, I don't really know. I don't care. Like I say, everyone knew that basically, and it was supposed to be Jackie Kennedy that was supposed to get shot in the head, and then when that happened, basically, Kennedy was basically going to go, "Oh my God, there was damn Russians! They killed her!" And the whole nation was supposed to go, "Oh, attack!" Or they're supposed to go, "Oh, those slant eyes, they killed her," and the attack. And that was basically Nixon or JFK's or the Republicans' idea. Basically, is after this travesty happened, a grieving president would attack and whatever. So, anyway, at least that was their basic plan, pretty much. Was when that happened, they were going to attack Russia or attack some other country, and then just have it so it looked like whatever, blah 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 blah, went and shot her or whatever, and then America was supposed to take vengeance on them, basically. Like I said, the Russians and the Chinese both had, and probably quite a few countries have all had a very good reason to actually want to kill JFK, and so did a lot of other people, I believe. So anyway, I'm not exactly sure. They were covering up a lot of stuff, but Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, or whatever, the other boys were actually worse. Like I said, there was, and the thing was that there's actually 5 or 6 clones of JFK or Nixon, basically. Same person, pretty much, only with facelifts and a lot of plastic surgery, pretty much. And they planned to cover up the fact that Germany had the best medical on the planet, basically, and could do plastic surgery. They were going to try and do this whole thing where blah 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 blah, blah America or whatever this country basically has always had better, and they were, or I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. It's a crazy ass thing. But why people died? Well, there's a variety of reasons, basically. Basically, JFK was a bigamist and a liar, and living inside of Lucifer White Star's house and just renting it, and eventually that was going to come out, and eventually it was going to come out about that there was a mine shaft underneath there, and basically a mining camp, and basically they mined stuff and a lot of other stuff. And like I say, I don't really care. It was my epic existence, and it was my mine, and functioned really well, and also my steam, whatever. And, I had this great epic existence that was, and then this other person was just coming along, trying to pretend to be me, or trying to pretend like, trying to use my government's or my country's good name, and the long, like, million or 10 million or long time that I always acted perfectly and always been like the savior of people and the protector of children and everything else like that. And basically the Republicans or the Democrats were just trying to make it look like JFK was actually this person or something like that, and whatever. Like I say, I don't really know. I really don't care. It was a crazy, ridiculous plot anyway. And basically, like I said, they were going to try and make it look like, when these other bad people had gone after JFK, I guess, and tried to kill him or whatever. Or maybe that I'm bad, Brian. Oh yeah, I'm such a huge drug lord, and that I had him killed or something. I don't know. It was a crazy, ridiculous plot. Because, like I said, I am the person who built the LSF colony ship and owned the LSF Blackbirds and faster than speed of sound and space and spaceships and everything else like that. And, was, I cruised throughout the space and stars and everything else like that and had done so for hundreds of millions of years. Long ass time, basically. So, trillions of or millions of years. Like I said, I did 1.5 million years of community service for the human race one time. Just building stuff, having stuff built. It was easy. It was fun. I enjoyed it. So, like I said, I just used one of my exoskeletons or my 1.5s or something like that to do it. And did stuff for the human race and helped them with inventing and technology and all kinds of other stuff. And I was like, whatever. I don't really care. I mean, I was basically a computer or whatever. So, I mean, that's 1.5 million years. It's fun. I got to invent stuff and design stuff and think of stuff and enjoyed myself really a lot. So, as Aaron would say, well, this is going to work out better for you. So, and it did. They facilitated everything, and basically I was epic. So, anyway, or even more epic again. I don't know. I had been epic quite a few times, and like I said, most people would actually build things with me or build things for me and just hang out with me just because, I was this great old lord, that built the first stars or something like that a long time ago. And I don't know, hundreds of trillions of years. And like I said, I deleted most of my memories anyway because there's just too much to withhold. Like I had like a whole planet-sized thing dedicated to my memories and stuff like that, or these complexes, and it was just too much, So they deleted it. Bye bye. And besides, it was being later on. I found out that it was being used against basically some people anyway. They're finding out exactly who, what, or whatever. I don't really care. Like I said, lots of life forms some of them spent their lives like trying to figure out who I was or what I was or how I was. And it's like, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I had this wonderful, really long existence. And then eventually took a vacation. That's when things started getting all weird. And, as somebody was trying to pretend to be me or trying to pretend that they had been me. And like I say, that's why a lot of people would take their babies up to JFK and have them kiss them or hold them for a minute. Because supposedly he was something, I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't really understand what his deal was. But basically, the Republicans were trying to look like good people that were trying to fight corruption and save the country money and this and that. And realistically, they're just trying to get access to Lucifer White Star Line money, which is basically Titanic, Leviathan, Lusitania, and all the steam trains and steamships and stuff like that, And they, because it's huge amounts of money and huge amounts of power and glory, whatever. I'm just like, whatever. And I was just checking on the particle creation anyway on the planets, and I had lots of mining colonies and lots of planets, and cruised around, and Earth or a few planets or a few people just kind of went cuckoo. Trying to say that Brian or little Lucifer Star was brain damaged or having delusions of grandeur or delusions, and none of this was true. No, there's just a Britannic, a Lusitania, Leviathan, and White Star Lines, and also, there's just a Britannic, a Britain, a Britan, Braun, a Brian, space shuttle, and yeah. So yeah, delusional, obviously. I'm obviously completely delusional about this. There's just LU all over the place, and there's just also BRI all over the place. And it doesn't make sense, does it? It's also because like I did the Constitution and everything else, and once I did the Constitution, the court system and everything else, everybody, so it's like I'm the one who did your Constitution and rights, human rights, equal rights, and basically the structure of your government, how your government works. Like I said, China and some other countries, I was a little more loose about it, because it's like, I was just kind of like doing stuff in there, and they wanted to actually do more stuff with me, And I was just like, well, just find out what the people need. So my government or my people were just like asking the people what they thought should be done in their own country in China. Because I was like, yeah, so like the Chinese were super happy because the that they're directly fielding calls or directly fielding things that people are like blah 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 blah, and then the government and my people that were basically the Chinese government were just going out and seeing what they could be done, what could be done for the people of China, basically. So like I said, it was going kind of to me, to them, blah blah blah, and just doing what I wanted to be done, and then I was like, well, why don't you just take surveys and see what the people around you need or want. So that's what they were doing in China, is they were just asking the people, and the people could submit in little pieces of paper about what they want to be done in their country and their stuff, and then it was just being done. So it was really direct too, because the Lord of whatever China was just like, oh yeah, better water. Okay, yeah, sure, let's go do that. And so, like I said, I had like 3 or 4 construction companies, big construction companies, on standby. They didn't have much to do. Like after we built the roads and we were doing this and we were doing that, like I was geared up to be building train tracks across countries and stuff like that. So I had all these people working for me, all this other stuff, and I was just laying off people like right and left, and really didn't need them for that much. I mean, I built this trainway, and then I built that trainway, and people were kind of like their sons and daughters and stuff like that were kind of joining up, and it's like, after a while, it's like, I don't really need you anymore. I mean, I don't really need you to work that hard anymore or work that much. I mean, back in the day when there wasn't a big train tracks going across the country, and yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. And when there wasn't a lot of roofs over over everyone's head, then yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. But as time goes on and things get accomplished, it's like, well, you don't really need a big, huge construction company. So after a while, I was just like, well, why don't you go around and just see what else needs to be done? So I was still paying them because I'm still making money from the aircraft and air travel, and also the shipping fleets and everything else. I'm still making money like crazy. So I just basically put my people on free range. I said, well, go do something else. Like one construction company, I said, go build roads in Europe. So they just went to Europe, and we're just like, building roads throughout Europe, or connecting cities in Europe or whatever, and on my dime, I was paying for it. So they were just doing it, and I even forgot about them for like 20 years or 30 years or something like that. I was like, are you guys still doing that? you know, so they were doing all that over there, and just building all these roads and building all this other stuff, because in general, in the future, it's eventually going to be needed. So I was having them just wander around. And they had been doing that since Roman times, basically. I had my own people and my own things, but once I got my city set up and everything else running just fine, it's like, well, don't really need to do that anymore. But I guess the children might need something, so, they just kind of kept going, kept building and building and building and building and building and building and building. So, I was just basically having all these construction teams build roads, so. And I kind of moved them around, sending them to Mexico or sending them to this other country. Like I said, we were building Panama Canal, and afterwards it's like, well, now what? And I think that was before we had the train tracks going across America or something like that. And then, I put them over to that or something. Like they've done caisson drilling throughout the whole friggin' planet and world. So down to like 5,000 feet or something like that, like every couple miles apart. So like they just kind of did this, did that, and it's like, well, shrug. I don't know. It's like, now what? It's like, I don't know. Take a vacation. And like I said, we were, most of my people for a while there, a lot of my people would get 3 months of vacation time. They'd work hard for 6 months or 9 months or something like that, and then they would, or whatever amount of time, and then they would take a vacation. And it's like, well, don't really need you to do much. I mean. And once everything gets going pretty smoothly, if no one's trying to destroy the system or run around shooting people, then it runs pretty good. And everything proceeds according to plan, pretty easy. and people get to basically wander around and wonder what to do and just do things. So anyway, and it was a really, I had really good systems even before, but that was before. See, before I had the laws, I was just production and building and inventing. And then later on, as I started to have problems with people, I guess as like Jimmy Carter, Richard Nixon, who was like, I sit behind this desk and I'm you. I sit behind the desk and I'm you. And it's like, but you're not me. And you never will be, and they'll find out eventually. Whatever, crazy pants. Um, so somebody thought that just because they sat behind the desk in the White House that they were Lucifer White Star Line, and it's like, but you're not. And oh well. Anyway, so we had a real disagreement there. Um, So anyway, and that's why a lot of people were dying. And plus, like I said, someone basically did take my place or did pretend like they were Lucifer Star, and then basically with my good name, they were just running around doing whatever they wanted. Like most people would trust Lucifer Star. If Lucifer Star was doing something, then it was he. I had never done anything bad or wrong for like hundreds of trillions of years. Like even when I grabbed Nixon or grabbed whatever and had them tortured, like people were like, "No way, you didn't really do that." And I was like, "Yeah, I did. Sorry. Yeah, he was really bad and a piece of shit, and like I would have just killed him or it was just whatever, but it got pretty bad, and I was wondering why it was bad, and it turned out there were like 30 clones of him running around. Like Nixon had made sure that he was like the first cloned or something. I don't know. And basically they were just abusing the system. Basically, I mean, no one would suspect or think that there's actually 30 copies of this one person running around, and that they're actually kind of working together to be psychotic or whatever. And I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know. I didn't know about it, but I very much kind of found out about it, and somebody also hand delivered them, or whatever, you know, or something like that. I mean, it was a long, long, long battle and fight, and I almost died and did die several times. And like I said, if it wasn't for the fact that I am the creator in the name of America and also the builder of stars and life forms, I would have been dead. Um, Abraham Lincoln would have killed me forever, and that would have been that. I would, if I was just a life form, if I was just another person, then I would have been dead, and then that would have been that. It'd be over. It's over. Because I would have just been a life form, but I'm not just a life form, I'm Lucifer Starline. And I built lots of stars and even probably showed the Chinese how to build stars and how to do all kinds of stuff in space and everything else. And had lived and existed for hundreds of millions of years and then eventually became a life form and then died. So, by Abraham Lincoln's or somebody's hand, basically. And when that happens, then you don't necessarily, and like I say, just as Brian, I basically, I was called Little Lucifer at the time, but technically still Brian's life, my life. I named America. So, and also edited the Constitution or something like that, and all that stuff. And so basically, pretty much, I mean, anyway, whatever. When you're that life form of that person, you're pretty well set in stone. I mean, like eventually people will figure it out because it's gotta, it's when even if I think it and then someone else knows it and then does it, there's still a connection there or something. And I don't really care. It's like, yeah, well, I did. So I also tortured the shit out of a couple people, and Richard Nixon or JFK or John, actually Jimmy Carter wanted to put me inside his body and make me like live his life or have lived his life through his eyes or his body or whatever. Lots of people were like, "You'll be like me," blah blah blah. And like Rodney was trying to say, or someone was trying to say that I was him at a later point in time in space or something like that. And I was like, "You're all crazy." Like up to that point, I'd barely just been Brian or Little Lucifer, and I had had this huge existence in the past or something like that. And like I say, I don't even care. It's like, wow. I decided to take a vacation, and I happen to be your creator and happen to be this epic life form, and like a bunch of people get all psycho about it. Like, fuck. It's just a vacation. I just put $100 million or some weird amount of money inside a bank account, and like everybody was like, I don't know, all over the money and all over this and all over that, and other people were like, I will make women in my image, or my, it's like, damn, you're psycho. And Rodney and other people were like, it's the hourglass shape. It's the perfect shape of the woman's body. And it's like, I don't even know how, like, I don't think that actually it looks good. And I don't really think that they really like to have their ribs squished in like that. Like, you know, anyway, whatever. I didn't invent the corset or whatever, but a lot of people were trying to get women to wear corsets or something like that. It's like, because it like bends in the bones, and if you wear a corset since you're young, since you're 12 or 13, like it'll shape your body in an hourglass shape or something like that. But it's like, yeah, that's uncomfortable and kind of like a different kind of almost borderline on torture or something like that. To spend your whole life wearing a corset just so someone can think that you look attractive. I don't know. I think it's a little psycho. So yeah. Anyway, like I say, I sound like a broken record, and yeah, I know, but it's pretty simple, and I don't really even care. Like I had this huge long existence, and it's like, they're nuts. They were nuts. Like people thinking that they could do whatever they wanted to people or to in a country or whatever. That the lord of the country can forgive himself or pardon himself for war crimes or having people killed or whatever, or that it's justifiable, and it's like, they were always killing people, always being psycho. They would call up TV news reporters or see film stars on TV, and they would go, oh, they're sexy, they're hot, have her come over, and some of them didn't want to come over, some of them were married, and some of them said no, and like, I guess Richard Nixon or a couple people were like, nobody says no to me. And like he had bombers and everything else like that. And he was threatening to bomb whole cities. Like I think he told some of the girls that look, if you don't sleep with me, I'll bomb your whole city. And, and it was a credible threat. He really could have done that. And I guess if you're psychotic and psycho, yeah, okay. Threatening a girl to bomb her hometown if she doesn't sleep with you, that's just a little psycho, don't you think? Like if you're a leader of a country and you have to threaten a girl with bombing her hometown or if she doesn't sleep with you, then you have a problem. You're not only a sick psycho son of a whatever, but you just, like really, it has to come to that. You can't find any other women to sleep with or no other woman to sleep with you. Like you have to actually go to the point of actually threatening women with bombing their town. So, anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I wasn't around during JFK's time, and he very much was trying to kill me. So, or something. I guess I don't know. Like I said, as far as I was concerned, I was like, I don't really need to know the human race. Yes, I'm your creator. Yes, Lucifer Star is the name of the person or life form that created you, or at least I chose that name as to be my name at some point in time, and that's me. And also, anyway, lots of other stuff. I basically invented triple expansion steam and steam engines and all kinds of stuff and had them built and built a lot of mining things. But there's a lot of great epic people around there too. It wasn't just me. I was just one of those ones that was powerful enough and big enough to say, no, I am not going to allow these people, just because you're rich and you want to get away with something does not mean you can get away with it. Especially on my ships and my planets. Like, I don't care who you are. Even JFK. So, anyway, whatever. So, now me getting away with stuff, well, it's a little bit, and for me, it's a little bit different.